Hello everyone, my name is Tyler, and today I will be posing to you the question, do people diagnosed with ADHD achieve less overall in life than their normal or non-diagnosed counterparts? Well, first you may be asking, what is ADHD? ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, and is typically characterized by inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. All of these things also must be present prior to the age of 12 for the person to receive a diagnosis. The disorder is currently believed to only develop in childhood and does not develop in adulthood. According to the American Psychiatric Association, ADHD occurs in 5% of children and 2.5% of adults. As with all prevalence rates in the DSM, these numbers are indicative of within the United States, and that number may vary a bit if the entire Earth's population is polled. Now, do those diagnosed with ADHD actually achieve less than their normal counterparts? The answer, so far, has been yes, that those diagnosed with ADHD do on average achieve less than their, non-diagnosed counterparts. Why would that be, you might ask? Well, let's look at the literature. To begin with, we know that ADHD is characterized by inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. These things have been shown to have a negative impact on a student's ability to achieve in school. In their study, Rapport, Scanlon, and Denny showed that students with ADHD underperform scholastically when compared to their normal counterparts, and that those with ADHD had worse performance on memory tasks and in classroom behavior. However, performance in the classroom is not the only location that those with ADHD fall short of their non-diagnosed cohort members. A study conducted by Fraser, Youngstrom, Gluting, and Watkins showed that those with ADHD also performed worse on standardized tests. This in itself leads to large achievement differentiation between those with and without ADHD. The Fraser study used the SAT as their test of measure, and the SAT, as many people know, is a fairly large and widely used test by colleges and universities in order to determine the future capacity for achievement while at university. So where does this fit into theory? Let's take a look at Erikson's stages of psychosocial development. As the diagnosis of ADHD must come before the age of 12, I believe the stage that is most impacted is stage 4, or the industry versus inferiority stage. It is around this age that children are in school and becoming more aware of themselves as individuals. Erikson believed that it is around this time that children develop self-confidence as well. It is through school that they can gain the recognition of their peers, teachers, friends, and parents. I believe that a child with ADHD would have their self-confidence impacted significantly since they can begin to see that they behave differently from their peers. They may not receive as much praise as their peers from their schoolwork because they may not be on par, and the teacher may act annoyed by the student much more so than by the other students, since the child with ADHD may be constantly drawing attention to themselves, potentially in a negative fashion. If those diagnosed with ADHD are not doing as well in the classroom and on standardized tests as their normal or non-diagnosed counterparts, it is likely that they are being edged out for college entrance. Finally, we need to look to see if there is in fact a difference between those with ADHD and those without it as far as achievement later in life. Manusa, Klein, Bessler, Malloy, and LaPadula performed a study on men diagnosed with ADHD and those without to determine their achievement levels later on in life. As you can see by this chart, those with ADHD overall attended less formal education than their non-diagnosed cohort members and received fewer higher education degrees. On average, those without a diagnosis of ADHD attended 2.5 more years of formal education. This, in turn, may have led to this next chart. This chart shows the occupations of the study participants in rank of least achieving to most achieving, such that the highest achievers, the lawyers and scientists, are at the bottom, and the carpenters, electricians, plumbers, painters, and machinists are at the top. As you can see from the graphic, there is a greater amount of higher achieving workers in the controls group as opposed to the proband group, which is the group with ADHD. Currently, there are two main tactics for intervention concerning ADHD. One, the more common type used, is to prescribe medications to reduce ADHD-like symptoms. Often they are stimulants, like methylphenidate. The second commonly used type of therapy is behavioral intervention, which would be teaching those with ADHD how to manage their symptoms to a manageable level, often through cognitive behavioral therapy. I feel it is very important for both educators and students alike to not only watch this video, but also to go on and do research of their own. I feel this is important because many people feel they understand what ADHD is and what it means to have ADHD and what it looks like, but the more educated we all become about the topic, the better off both we, as people, students, and people with ADHD are, and better the educators are at seeing it, assessing it, and knowing what to do when you can come across a person with ADHD. It is important to note that a diagnosis of ADHD does not automatically mean that the person with ADHD will achieve less than a normalized person. I, for one, have diagnosed ADHD, and I am currently getting my master's in counseling psychology. Alright, for the last few seconds, I'm going to put up my sources that I use for this presentation in APA formatting. And, as always, whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing it well, and I hope to see all of you later. Alright, see ya!